I'd like to talk today about corporate greed and the degree to which it can be self destructive in relation to Activision Blizzard. But first, a little background. Activision was founded in 1979 by disgruntled Atari employees wishing for better working conditions and recognition of their work. After the video game crash of 1983, the company struggled along until 1991, when it was purchased by a group of investors, including the man who would become its CEO, Robert Kotick. It would go on to merge with Vivendi's game development arm, which had previously owned Blizzard Entertainment. The new company, an LLC, would be, christened Activision Blizzard. The company has a code of conduct. It mostly features the standard inclusions: do the right thing, protect the fans, maintain shareholders' trust, dressed up in cloying dialogue. Now, onto the issue of greed. In their haste to grab as much profit as possible in the short term, they burn out their audience and end up killing not only their series, but the entire genres those series belong to. First, there was Guitar Hero. In the span of 6 years, there were 13 games released, all with slightly different instrument peripherals. So, even if you owned one, you are encouraged to double dip and buy more and more plastic controllers. The bundles' prices ranged from $80 to $200, and they were releasing every 6 months. After the series died in 2010, Activision attempted to revive it in 2015. The failure of that revival drove the company that produced the peripherals for this new version of Guitar Hero out of business. Then there were the Tony Hawk games. After reassigning the developer that had made the series one of the most acclaimed of all time, ironically, to Guitar Hero, Activision decided that what the series really, really needed was an expensive peripheral that barely worked. What was once a great series produced some of the worst games of all time. And even when a revival was released that was lauded as a return to form, the developer that produced that revival was rewarded by being absorbed into Blizzard itself. But of course, the most egregious example is when they added a cash shop to a game that had launched without it. Activision had managed to sate the masses for a short period by bringing back games people liked, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot among them. Then they squandered that goodwill by updating a game that they had remade, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, reducing the rewards earned after the races, and simultaneously adding in a system where you could purchase in-game currency and from there in-game items with real money. Because the cash shop was added after launch, the positive scores the game had released, and there were many, were fraudulent because they were reviewing a game where rewards were actually worth anything, and you weren't expected to pay out real money. This is something that the Code of Conduct advises against. It also sets a terrible precedent for the industry at large because one bad action begets another. And with developers emboldened to do heinous things like that, the industry becomes a worse place for the players. Were there consequences? Not really. Activision faced no real consequences for these actions. After a few weeks of bad press, something they've endured plenty of times before and after, at the moment, Microsoft is attempting to purchase Activision. It's likely to go through because the complaints raised don't really amount to anything. And what this means for the management that produced these terrible actions is unknown at the moment. Thank you for your time.